The anime begins with a famous saying. It is said that when a being is treated with care, a spirit will come to inhabit it. Then, one bright morning, we see people in the streets going about their daily lives, and a red light is focused on a trash bin. In a certain city, we see two ladies in white clothes throwing garbage bags into the designated spot for trash disposal. After that, we see a torn dog doll and a girl talking to her mother about how her doll is ruined. Her mother expresses regret as they just bought it, and fixing it might make it worse. She suggests they buy a new one instead, and we see them put it in a garbage bag and toss it into the trash outlet that leads through pipes to garbage trucks. Then we see a lady leaving, while a strange person wearing a mask and hood is watching her. The garbage trucks move, and a person in dirty clothes follows them. Soon after, we see a man in white clothes, like a security guard, hearing whispers inside a room. He approaches the door to find someone rummaging through the trash. He is surprised, forcefully opens the door, and points a weapon at this person. We learn that this area is forbidden for anyone not allowed to enter, and the security guard tells us that this person is a thief who steals from the trash and threatens the beauty of their city. An alarm sounds, and other soldiers arrive, but the thief throws garbage bags at them and escapes through the trash outlet. He tries to get out, but the gate closes. Suddenly, the soldiers shoot at him, but he is very fast and manages to dodge the bullets and escape. The soldiers continue shooting at the fleeing thief, but one bullet hits him as he jumps over a wall, and he manages to hide and finally escape from them. We see this thief coming out of a sewer, revealing his face as a boy who says they are a bunch of fools that don't threaten anyone. In his bag, there are the torn dog dolls. Then we see that everyone in the city is wearing the same white clothing and listening to someone playing music. Afterward, we see a person writing in a notebook while listening to two ladies discussing an incident involving garbage the night before, wondering about the person who escapes with the trash, thinking he might be from the tribes. They look at this person and assume from his clothes that he is of a lower status than them. The man looks at them and walks away, and we understand that those from the tribes are seen as lower in status and cleanliness than those living in the city. The two ladies wish that those living in the tribes would keep to their side. We then see the man exit through an iron gate, revealing that there is a high wall separating the tribe side from the city side. We see that the tribe side is an old and dirty city. Two people talk about the thief who stole from the city's garbage, wishing he would stop so the soldiers wouldn't come to them. Meanwhile, we see the boy thief surrounded by the stolen items he took from the city's trash, and we hear a girl tell him Radu and ask if he went again to collect garbage. We learn her name is Kyo, and she continues saying that people in the city are demanding regarding garbage management, and it's unpredictable what they might do if they catch Rodu. She asks him why he insists on collecting trash. Rodu explains that the rich in the city throw away usable things without a second thought, and stealing helps him earn money to cover his living expenses. Kyo asks Rodu if he enjoys collecting trash. He clarifies that it's not like that, but at that moment, we see three people bullying Rodu, saying he smells awful. They notice Kyo, and one of them tells her that her smell will become bad if she continues standing with Rodu. He points at Rodu, saying he wears that dirty glove all the time, and believes he will get a rash if he touches him. Another kicks a lamp that was in front of Rodu, telling him that no one would buy the trash he fixes. They continue saying that under those gloves is terrifying, and we hear Kyo say that Rodu is no different than them. One of the people says that going out with him is a bad idea because he is the son of a killer. Rodu is astonished by this comment. This person continues, saying that these neighborhoods were built to confine criminals, and they think they are descendants of such people trying to maintain cleanliness to improve their image. Here, they accuse Rodu's father of destroying everything due to the killings he committed, telling Kyo that if she goes out with him, people will presume she is bad like him. Rodu looks on in anger, frightening the three people, and one of them mentions his criminal eyes and suggests he will become a killer like his father before they leave. Rodu asks Kyo why he would become like that. Kyo tells him that it's horrible to say and that he is not like his father, insisting he is a good person who cannot kill anyone. Rodu gazes at her, feeling tense, and suddenly Kyo screams in delight upon seeing that Rodu has fixed the dog doll. However, Rodu clarifies that this doll is not for sale. At that moment, Kyo's mother calls for her, asking her what she is doing and telling her to come home with her. Kyo goes with her mother and tells Rodu that she will see him again. We hear her mother saying she requested Kyo not to see Rodu again. Rodu watches them leave, and then we see him walking on his way home, where we find the person who was in the city standing inside, repeating Radu's words about the doll not being for sale. Rodu gets angry, saying, "Regto, you were watching me." Regto explains that he must be clear about his feelings and continues that he wants to talk to Rodu about his actions regarding the city's garbage. Then we hear Regto telling Rodu that their situation is not hard enough to risk his life and that he should let Regto handle things until Rodu grows up. Rodu looks at him, stating he's not in danger since they have never found him. Regto responds that they indeed found him last night, emphasizing that Rodu and he are not blood related but are like family, and Rodu should not act as if he owes him something. Rodu clarifies that Regto found him as a child and raised him, stating he doesn't owe him anything but treats him with respect. Regto looks at him, wishing to be honest with Kyo. Rodu feels tense and knocks over a lamp, looking at Regto with anger and asking why they are talking about Kyo. Regto notices the wound on Rodu and asks when he got it, wanting to know if someone shot him. Rodu panics, saying no. Regto approaches him, wanting to see the wound so he can change the bandage on his hands, asking him to take off his glove. We see Rodu remove his glove as we hear Regto tell him that he must stop stealing trash, or he will end up with serious injuries next time. We see that he bandaged his wounds. Rodu stands up, explaining that these wounds are not as serious as those left by his father. He looks at his hand, covered in scars, as Regto looks down, saying that the penalty for major crimes is instant death, which means a fall into the pit, and this has been the city's rule since ancient times. He adds that Rodu's father was thrown into that pit, which is why Rodu must take care of himself, even in this filthy world. Rodu recounts that his hand was black like this, as he remembers, and sometimes he feels intense pain from them. He recalls the looks of people who were disturbed by seeing his injury, which drained his spirit when he was little. He clarifies that Regto is the one who gave him these gloves that eased his pain, and he is indebted to Regto. Meanwhile, Regto holds the dog doll, advising Rodu to tell Kyo about his feelings, or someone will take her away from him. He adds that he should give her this doll tomorrow. Rodu gets flustered and angry, and we hear them arguing. At this moment, we see the masked person standing outside, listening to their quarrel. The next day, Regto advises Rodu to smile and tighten his face to make it look happy, but Rodu replies that there is no way to succeed with his face. He glances at the doll, thinking Kyo would be at her home, and walks on the road. He notices garbage bags, looks at them, and continues his way. He clarifies that the pit is basically a massive dump where all the trash ends up, and anyone who commits a crime is thrown in there. We see the waste being tossed into the pit, hearing voices from people gathered chanting, "Send the filth to the pit." We see someone thrown into the pit, and Rodu clarifies that his father was thrown into the pit. He wonders what happens to the people who are thrown in there. Meanwhile, we hear someone say they are sending another person to the pit. Rodu responds with a yes, and he realizes that the one speaking is Chio. Rodu stutters when he sees her, and hides the doll behind his back. Chio is happy to see Rodu because he doesn't come here often. Rodu can't respond. Chio continues that it's a terrible sight. Rodu agrees and says it's not much different from any place in the slums. Chio says that the slums were built on the edge of the city, so that they could instill the idea that anything bad you do will lead to you being thrown into the pit, and that anyone who lives here must witness the executions, whether they like it or not. She looked at Rodu and wished that she wouldn't see him meet his end in the pit. She added that she knows there's a lot of trash that doesn't deserve to be thrown away, and that if Rodu put himself in danger for that and was caught, his fate would be to be thrown into the pit. Rodu says that Rigetto said this. Chio replies, "Because he loves you too." Rodu is surprised by Chio's words, and he says, "Loves me too?" Chio notices and gets embarrassed and says, "I didn't mean that." Rodu looks at her in surprise. He holds the doll, puts it to his face, and falls to the ground. Chio looks at the doll and says, "Is this the doll?" Rodu interrupts her and says that he thought she would like it when he saw it. He pauses and explains that she might not like it because it came from the dump. He extends his hand for Chio to take the doll. Chio took the doll from him and was happy. Rodu looked on in surprise. Then we see Rodu running and jumping joyfully in the streets. He said he must tell Rigetto what happened. As he runs, he collides with city police officers and falls to the ground. They look at him and continue on their way. Rodu wonders what they are doing here. Rodu continues his run to Rigetto. He hesitates before entering the house, but he opens the door and enters. He hoped to see Rigetto, but he was shocked when he saw the masked person in front of him on the ground, Rigetto killed with a sword. Without hesitation, Rodu attacks the masked person. Suddenly, we see Rodu fallen on the ground, injured, and unable to get up. We see the masked person pick up a book from the ground and look at Rodu as he exits the door. Meanwhile, Rodu hears a whisper from Rigetto. Rodu goes to him and hears Rigetto tell him in a low voice, "Run." Rodu asks him why and who did this to him. He reassures him that he will go get help, but Rigetto screams at him and tells him to run, and to change this filthy world, and Rigetto dies. Meanwhile, the police arrive and arrest Rodu. They accuse him of committing murder. Rodu is surprised, and he tells them, "What do you mean? I didn't do anything." The police force him to be silent and say that he was caught red-handed killing Rigetto, and that he is covered in his blood. Rodu explains to them that the real killer escaped. They ask him to be silent, but Rodu repeats that the real killer escaped. So one of the police officers hit him. After that, we see people gathered in front of the house, and we hear one person say, "Finally, Rodu killed. He killed his adopted father." And we see the dog doll, and we hear Chio's voice saying that she can't believe Rodu did that. Then we see people gathered at the pit, and we hear the judge say that our beautiful land has been polluted because of your actions, not just stealing trash, but by committing the most filthy crime, which is murder, and we see Rodo hanging by ropes at the pit. The person continues and says, even if the victim is just a filthy person from the tribes, the perpetrator of the crime must not remain on the land for a single moment. And he announces the death sentence for Rodo, and the people shout and repeat, throw the filth into the pit. Here Rodo appears hanging, wondering what is happening and how it could happen, and we see him approaching the pit. Rodo continues that he didn't do anything. He looks at all the standing people and begs them to listen to him, and among the people, he sees Chio standing and holding the doll in her hands. At that moment, Rodo shouts at her and says that Rigetto was killed, and that the killer must be found. Chio whispers and says, I believed in you. You are truly the son of a killer, and she throws the doll on the ground and leaves. At this moment, the people continue to repeat the phrase, send the filth to the pit. At this moment, Rodo smiles and says, you are the filth, piles of filth with no will of your own. And Rodo sees the judge raise his hand and notices the real masked killer among the standing people. Suddenly, Rodo is thrown into the pit, and he vows as he falls that he will send them hell. After a while, Rodo opens his eyes, and we notice that he has fallen among the trash, and that he is still alive, and he doesn't know where he is or what this place is, and we see that this place is full of trash and waste. Rodo looks on in surprise and says, they used to say it was a landfill, and we see a monster appear in front of him. Rodo continues that the pit is the end of everything, people and trash, and Rodo looks at the monster in fear, and he says, it really is hell.